So above your habitation door you've got your main control panel. So this is your master switch here. So you can turn the motorhome on and off. It depends whether you're hooked up or not. So if you're hooked up you will have mains for all your mains appliance. If you're not hooked up you will just have 12 volt off your leisure battery. So you turn it on. You want the blue light to be near battery L, which is the designated leisure battery for operating the motorhome side of the body, and it'll show you your reading. You can also press the vehicle battery and show the battery level of the vehicle battery. Always make sure that's on the leisure. And then underneath you've got your pump, so turn that on to use the taps, toilet and shower, and you can check your water level by just pressing this one here, and it'll illuminate how much water you've got in your main freshwater tank. So in the kitchen area you do have 3 gas burners, so we'll just show you them working, as we've got our test bottle on board at the moment. So there you go, there's 3 burners lit. Make sure that they're cool enough to touch before you put your glass lid down, otherwise there is a chance you could shatter your glass lid. Underneath you do have a combined grill and oven. And there's your grill, and underneath you've got your oven. Gas isolation taps are in the back corner, as well as your Sure Flow water pump, and you do have some storage. So obviously with the gas isolation taps you can isolate each appliance manually, but just turn the bottle off to be safe if you do think you've got a gas leak. Storage, obviously plate rack here, which is just can be lifted into any cupboard. You may not want to use that, you may want to use your own storage ideas, but that's there. Along with your tower of 3 sockets, so you turn it on and off here. Got to be hooked up for this to work, and then turn it off, press the red button and slide the sockets back down into the counter. Storage. Electric step, so this is the switch which operates the step, so it can go in and it can go out, but it'll retract when the engine started. And then as long as you've got your pump on, you'll be able to get the pressurised flow of water where the water pump kicks in, and that's starting to get warm there. So your hot water's working. To lock your habitation door, what you need to do is just push this catch in, and that's it locked. And you do have, fitted by the previous owner, a Fiamma fly net. To operate your Fedford toilet, ensure that the pump is turned on so you can get a fresh water flush, and then all you need to do is press the blue button. The light kicks in, which is the fan. If you press that till it goes to a solid light instead of flashing, that's it turned off. Then you'll be able to press the blue button, and that will give you fresh water flush. So always put a small amount in before you use the toilet, because it helps lubricate the seal between the blade and the top of the toilet. And then what you'll want to do is, there's a grey lever here, you'll want to slide this to the right. It opens the blade, you can use the toilet, you can give it a good flush after use, and you can slide this back, it closes the blade, and then that means when the cassette is full and you get 3 green lights underneath the diagram of the cassette, you can pull it out the side of the van and go and dispose of your waste. Should the blade still be open, the cassette won't physically move out the side of the vehicle. So you can see there that you've got 1 green light, it goes up to 3, and that's just a float inside the cassette, which gives you your level indication. You've got your bathroom light underneath here, and a toiletry cabinet, along with your hand basin. And then you do also have your shower. So on your shower screens, what you'll want to do is tie them back when travelling. You've got a hanging rail above for wet towels, but also doubles up for wet coats. So if you're going away for a longer period of time, it can also double up as an additional wardrobe. And when you are winterising the van, where you want to make sure all the water is out the motorhome, so fresh waste water, boiler drained off, you want to also leave all the mixer taps open throughout the motorhome and remove your shower head from the hose. As you can see there, it's looped. Any water could potentially freeze in this pipe. Lie this pipe down in the shower tray to stop it from freezing with any water inside the pipe. To operate your Dometic fridge, so you can turn it on and off here. And it's three ways, so it's mains, the plug, which is 240 volt, gas, off your gas bottle. If you're wild camping, you'd use gas. If you were on a site, you'd use mains, or if you were pre-chilling at home, you'd use mains. You'd use battery when the engine's running, so it sends a feed from the engine alternator to the fridge and it acts like a giant cool box. So you've got to be down to temperature for this to work, otherwise it's pointless having it on. So a couple of days before, you'll want to hook the van up. This gives a good chance for your leisure battery to take a good charge and become fully charged. You can also put your fridge on, chill that down, and then when you are ready to drive away, so you've put your shopping in the night before, the next morning you're ready to travel off onto battery. Once the engine's started, you can drive until you reach your site, and you can either go to gas if you're wild camping or mains if you are on an electric pitch site. This is your temperature. So you've got 5 being the coldest. Have it on 5 when there's nothing in it, pre-chilling, because it gets it down to temperature a lot quicker. Once you pop your shopping in, just pop it down to 3 or 4 so that your shopping doesn't freeze. Then finally, every once in a while, give your fridge a good wipe out and leave the door open, as it forms an airtight seal and traps the air, and the air will start to smell, which then makes the motorhome smell. So on the side of the courtesy light of the fridge, there's this little toggle. You push it in, these two come out. If you rest the door upon it, the door's not shut, it's loose there, you can see. It means air can circulate in and out of the fridge. So to use your ultra heat, this is your gas side of your fire. So if you're wild camping, you'd have to heat the motorhome off gas because you wouldn't be hooked up, so you couldn't use the main side. So you've got 1 to 5 being the gas icon, so you just push it down, turn it, look in here, and you'll be able to see the blue flame just there. And you hear it roar, and that's it lit on gas. So you can choose 1 to 5. Just down there you can see that the flame's lit. Yeah. So that is it lit on gas, which you'd use if you're wild camping. And then you've got a choice of using a 12 volt fan or not. So the 12 volt fan will circulate the hot air through the ducting parts, so these parts of the motorhome. If you didn't want that and you wanted to get the most out of your leisure battery without wasting it on a fan, it can convect out the front. So this is where A, O and M's. So O is off, which it'll convect out the front. It'll not circulate around the van. A is automatic, and the thermostat in the motorhome will pick up when it's at temperature. And you've got 1 to 5 being your fan speed on here. And M is manual. And what that will do is it'll manually just keep putting out the same temperature of heat until you intervene. So you either turn the heat off or down, or you turn the fan speed down, or you turn the thing completely off. Whereas A, it'll cut itself out, and then when it thinks it's dropped, it'll kick back in. But you'd use that through there, and you can use the fan on the electric side of the heating as well. It's not just for the gas. This side is solely for the gas, which you'd use if you were wild camping. Your electric side is here on the side of the wardrobe, so it's very easy to use the electric side. You've got 1 to 9. 9 is equivalent to 30 degrees of the temperature of the inside of the vehicle. So off is here. 2000 is the top one, which is 2 kilowatts of mains power. So depending on the site ampage that you get through your hooker bleed, whether it's 12 or 16 amp, you may be able to use 2 kilowatts. If it's lower than that, you may have to use 1000 kilowatts, or if you're still tripping the van, you may have to use 500 watts. So 1000 watts is 750 This is 750 watts. 2000 is 1500 watts. So you'd use electric as much as you can if you're on a site, and only gas when you were wild camping. But by all means, you can use the electric and gas together should you be away in the winter and you want to get your motorhome up to temperature without sitting in a cold motorhome for 15 to 20 minutes. You'll probably get the van up to temperature in around 10, and then you would turn your gas off and allow your electric to continue to heat the. So under the bench seat on the driver's side, you've got this fuse spur here, which is your ultra heat. So to control the dial in the previous clip, this has got to be turned on, and this will only work on mains power. So when you hook up, the light will come on and it'll allow the green light to come on the dial. Leave this on, you don't really need to touch it unless you are, if there's a problem and you don't want the mains to cause any issues, you can isolate the fuse spur there, which will stop the electric side of your heating working, and you'd have to use your gas. But leave that on, and it's exactly the same for this side. This is your ultra store, so this is your electric water heater. Should you have no water in, or should you not want to accidentally touch the dial on the front, which I'll show you in a second, you can isolate that as well. This is your boiler, so it holds 10 litres of water at any one time. In the winter, it's very important that you drain off your boiler, you freshen your waste and leave all the taps within the motorhome open. But to drain your boiler off, you see this little yellow toggle here. All you do is stand it up like so, and it'll allow the water out underneath the chassis. And then when you come to use the van again, you'd lie it down, shut your freshen your waste, shut all your taps within the motorhome, fill the vehicle with cold water, put your pump on and go to the cold side of the tap first. Go into the cold side, it'll allow the water to come through. Slowly go to the hot side, it'll pressurise the water by pushing it into the boiler here. So if you put the water, when you go to the hot side, it'll start filling this. Once this is full, it'll start pushing it through the red pipe, which will come to your taps, and you'll get a pressurized flow. So it will take a while to get a free flow of water, between 3 and 5 minutes. Once you've got one, do one tap, do them all, and your system is pressurized for the winter, for the season ahead, sorry. Drain it down for the winter, as you wouldn't want the water to freeze because it voids your warranty, and it's a very expensive job to replace a boiler. However, on the front, to heat your water, these are your switches. So you've got Ultra Store and you've got Ultra Store EL. So grey switch is gas, so you'd use gas if you were wild camping. You need to take the cover off the outside of the motorhome, otherwise this will come with a red light, and it will come up with a red light for one or two reasons. Either the gas has failed, cover's on, or you've run out of gas, so it's not switched on. So you've got two settings on there. You've got off in the middle, you've got 50 degrees at the top, and you've got 70 degrees at the bottom, and you'll hear a kick in there. And you've got Truma Boiler EL 230 volts, so you'd use that on a site or at home if you wanted to heat your water. You've got off at the middle, you've got 1 kilowatt at the top, which is 750 watts, 2 kilowatts at the bottom, which is 1500 watts. By all means, you can use both switches together should you be in desperate need of hot water. It'll take around 5 minutes to heat a full 10 litres. But normally you would just use electric if you're on a site, and gas if you were wild camping, because you wouldn't want to waste your gas if you've paid to be on someone's site. So this is your EC155 power supply unit from Sargent. So when you hook up, this light will come on. Just don't bother touching it, just let it light up when it is hooked up. You can't turn it off, it's the charger that charges your leisure battery when hooked up. Underneath this side you've got all your mains trips, so you've got your RCD and your MCBs. If you're thinking you're not getting power, best thing to do is try and trip the motorhome first. If the van trips, you are receiving power, it's not the motorhome. If it doesn't trip, obviously it's not the van, it's the site. And then this side you've got all your 12 volt fuses, which are listed on the front, so do carry some spare blade fuses, and you can replenish the fuse should a fuse decide to blow when you're away on holiday. You can pop a new fuse in and solve the problem.